At around 5 p.m. on Thursday, July 23, 2015, 18-year-old Alesha Bell was seen by her neighbors leaving her mother's house to walk to visit a nearby relative in their Warren, Ohio neighborhood. She was never seen again. This is the story of the murder of Alesha Bell. Alesha, or Lily, as some of her family members lovingly called her, was described as an independent, outgoing, and funny young woman. Although she was small, standing at about 5'1" and 115 pounds, she was strong-willed. If you told her she couldn't do something, she was going to find a way to do it. She was said to have a very infectious laugh, her brother saying,
"When you hear that laugh, you're going to end up starting getting the giggles."
She was a mother of one to a beautiful baby boy named Damon, who she was said to be absolutely in love with. Around 6 a.m. the following morning, Alesha's mom, Tiffany Nepper, received the following text message from her cell phone that she said immediately threw up red flags. "Mom, if I make it home, I need you. I'm scared." Tiffany said the following.
"It's 6 o'clock in the morning. What are you scared of? She doesn't wake up at 6 in the morning. She sleeps in, unless she has to go to school. So I knew there was something wrong. She's not scared of anything. Nothing. So when she said, 'I'm scared,' there's something wrong."
Several text messages came soon after. However, I cannot specifically find reports on what were in those messages. But from what Tiffany said, she knew instantly that it was not her daughter sending those messages.
And then the messages that came in after, yes, I knew just by the way they were texting and how they were talking that was not my daughter texting me. I knew that was not her.
Did that make you think right then?
There's something really wrong. There's something really wrong.
Someone has her.
Yes, there's something really wrong. And then the way they were talking, they were making it seem like she's okay. Everything's all right. They said that they were acting like her. I'll be home in a little bit.
Tiffany started to call Alesha's cell phone repeatedly, to which she did not receive an answer. She questioned her son and asked if he had heard from Alesha that day. He hadn't. Tiffany continued to call Alesha and still could not get a hold of her. At around 4 p.m. that same day, she texted Alesha the following.
I didn't try. I sent her a message, but I tried to see if I can get a response because she wasn't answering the phone still. And I said, "Do you have a couple dollars for your son some diapers?" Just to see. I had it, but just to see what she would say if there would be a response, and there was no response to that. Because she would call me right away about her son, needing anything, and no response, and then I knew.
Alesha was reported missing soon after. It was established pretty early on that Alesha wasn't a runaway. Tiffany said that it was out of character for her to disappear, making it known that Alesha wouldn't just up and leave Damon without any explanation.
I think we all are as a family. We're pretty tight-knit. She wouldn't. She would call me and tell me, "Mom." We would have talked about this if she wanted to go. She wouldn't just leave. She would say, "Mom, I need to go somewhere. I'm going to go here, or I'm going to go there, or I'm going to be gone for a week, or I might be gone for a month." She would tell me. She would tell me before she would just vanish.
Reports went on to state that given the circumstances of the text messages, Alesha's disappearance was suspicious. The Ashtabula County Sheriff's Department was reportedly able to trace Alesha's cell phone to an address belonging to a man who actually attended high school with Tiffany, named James E. Brooks. It was said that the family believed him to be trustworthy and knew him pretty well. Authorities searched his home soon after, but they were unable to locate Alesha or any evidence to provide an answer to her disappearance. There weren't any promising leads, and it just seemed as if Alesha disappeared into thin air. Tiffany kept hope that her daughter was still alive. She was adamant that someone took her, but she kept faith that Alesha was somewhere out there fighting to come home.
I can feel it. When I firmly believe she's still out there.
My sister is strong. She's a fighter. We believe that she's still out there.
Just as Alesha's case was seemingly about to lose steam, the Ashtabula County Sheriff's Department came across a gruesome discovery. On or about August 20th, 2015, the Sheriff's Department raided a local man's house as a part of a drug bust. During the raid, authorities discovered human remains in the backyard's fire pit. Authorities brought in cadaver dogs that also caught the scent of human remains in the bedroom, on the knob of a door leading to the basement, and a mop found on the deck in the backyard. They found shovels next to 2 open bags of lime, which is a mineral that is commonly used to mask the odor of decay and helps accelerate decomposition, which was also found in the fire pit. He was immediately arrested and charged with the abuse of a human corpse, as well as several other unrelated charges pertaining to drugs. That man was James E. Brooks. On September 3rd, 2015, forensic tests confirmed that the human remains found in Brooks' fire pit was that of Alesha Bell. Upon confirmation, authorities updated Brooks' charges to 2 first-degree felony counts of involuntary manslaughter, 1 first-degree felony count of human trafficking and kidnapping, and 1 third-degree felony count of abduction and prostitution. Court documents allege that Brooks abducted Alesha and forced her into prostitution, which subsequently led to her death. And look, Brooks wasn't just some random stand-up guy that came out of nowhere. He had a very shady background. He admitted in court to running a quote-unquote escort service earlier that year, which authorities stated was an actual prostitution ring. Investigators stated that he would book dates for the girls, provide a Visa card for the girl to rent out a motel room, and then turn around and take half the money that they would make for that night. Brooks also had an extensive background in dealing drugs, and he mixed it with his sex trafficking. He would receive drugs and distribute them to those in his prostitution ring. These sex workers would then become addicted and depend on Brooks for drugs. It was also reported that Brooks was selling pain medication to Alesha because he was trying to recruit her into this prostitution ring. Brooks admitted that he did in fact meet with Alesha that evening when she went missing on July 3rd. He said he picked her up in the local area, but he didn't offer a reason as to why or what happened that led to her death. What he did do was offer an apology. He stated, "I'd like to apologize to the family. It's not what you guys really think. There's a lot you don't even understand that I can't tell you in here about this. I'm sorry, but it's not what you think. It's not a prostitution ring." He went on, "I know in time I might be able to tell you what's going on. It's twisted." Brooks was sentenced to just a mere 8 years for the death of Alesha Bell. He is suspected to be involved in 3 other missing women's cases, one of which I will be covering next week, 22-year-old Jasmine Smith. I believe there's no justice that can be served that could bring peace to Alesha's family. She was taken away from them entirely too soon. She was only 18 years old, and she's no longer alive. And the person who ultimately is responsible for her death was only charged with involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 8 years, which is, in my opinion, not enough. I mean, Brooks was sentenced more for his drug charges. He was given 21 years for all the charges stemming from the drug raid that same day. Alesha was a mother, she was a sister, a daughter, and she was so much more. And even her mother, Tiffany, went on to say that her son still asked for her this very day. Alesha was full of life and she was strong, and she was taken away from her family entirely too early. And what I found most disturbing is that during my research, she was described as an adult woman. While she was 18 years old, she was still a teenager. And what I find often with the cases of Black and brown missing and murdered children is that they're often described as adults. Prime example, Trayvon Martin. He wasn't described as a grown adult man, when in reality he was a teenager. And that is the same for Alesha as well. She was still a teenager. She was still in school. And I think it takes away the humanity of the story. Alesha had her whole life ahead of her, and her story will never be forgotten. If you listen this far into the podcast, I ask that you continue to spread the word, continue to tell her story. Thank you for listening, guys, and I will see you next week. Sources for this episode can be found in the show notes. However, I would like to personally give a shout out to the True Case Files, the Star Beacon, 17.com, and of course the Department of Justice.